Gotta make sure the mics are turned on this time. I messed up last time.
You're listening to Cosplay Colorado, your source for cosplayer entertainment.
What's up, everybody? It's Roger. I am your host for Cosplay Colorado, and that is exactly what you are listening to here today. Sitting with me right now, we have my very good friend, Rebecca. Say hi.
Hi.
So how are you doing today, Becca?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Roger?
It is too hot to be close to fall.
It is.
It's honestly, I can't wait to be able to wear long sleeves and sweaters for the mornings and the day rather than just the morning when I'm riding on a motorcycle and the wind chill's like 20 degrees. It's horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like been in the 80s all week too.
Yeah.
It's terrible. That's summer weather.
Yeah. It's supposed to cool down in the next few days though, hopefully. And
yeah.
We're allegedly getting rain, which I'm really looking forward to. But anyways, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Becca. I just moved back to Colorado about a year ago. I'm originally from Alaska. I went to college here in Colorado, though.
Nice.
So,
how long have you lived in Colorado?
In total, I want to say 4 years.
That sounds about right.
Between college and since I moved back.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
That
sounds about right. Yeah. In case you guys are trying to figure out what's going on, I actually met Becca out in our first year of college when we used to go to Fort Lewis down in Durango, Colorado, which Durango is a gorgeous place. If you guys have not been there, you need to go there. But more specifically, definitely go either during, I would say probably the best times to go are like spring and maybe summer. Maybe if you're not going for the skiing
or fall. I mean, summer is just ungodly hot there. Like,
that's true.
July, it's over 100 and you're just dying.
I also forgot the Animas River's still kind of messed up.
Yeah.
So
a little bit Chernobylized.
Yeah. So definitely go towards the spring or the fall or the winter if you're into skiing. But anyways, I remember when I first met you, we were kind of still getting to know each other in that awkward friendship stage. You mentioned that you used to do cosplay when you lived in Alaska, right? Yeah,
I did some cosplay when I was in high school for a few years.
Nice. What kind of got you into that?
Well, I was a nerd. So I think that's what gets most people into it. I mean, I was your typical, like, nerdy teenager. I was big into anime and manga and all of that stuff. And yeah, I had some friends that were into cosplay, and I thought it seemed kind of silly at first, but my best friend took me to a convention, and I got super into it for a few years, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. How old were you when you first started?
I want to say I was 13 or 14.
Okay. So definitely in that more like curious stage of what is going on.
Yeah, the awkward teenager stage.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah.
It's
usually where you get into cosplaying, I think. But.
I see that. When I went to Denver Comic-Con for the first time, all you see are like those preteens or like early teenagers running around in their first cosplays, and it's two things. One, it's adorable because they have no idea what they're doing, but they're running around having the time of their lives, which makes it to the second thing. Honestly, inspiring. They do not care at all. They just threw something together and went, either like with their family or with their friends or someone. But you can always tell which ones are the black sheeps of their family because they're the ones all dressed up and having a ton of fun, and their parents are following around like, can we go home yet?
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because that's like the roles have switched in that sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, that's something you really notice too. I remember when I was in high school and when I was into cosplaying, I had this English teacher that would have us do journals and like just like talk about our personal life and whatever. And yeah, that's one of my journal entries, was just like talking about how I always like felt left out, but like when I was at the anime convention, like I fit right in. I was having a bunch of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that really goes with that.
What was your first convention?
So there's not much for anime conventions in Alaska, which probably isn't surprising. But yeah, so like actually the only convention I've ever gone to is called SenshiCon.
Okay.
And so at the time when I started going there, there'd be like a few hundred people that'd show up, mostly in costumes, and it'd just be like the awkward variety you'd expect at an Alaskan anime convention.
Yeah. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, I've heard it's grown to like tens and thousands of people though, so it's definitely gained popularity.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like when I went, there's only a few hundred people, like a very limited amount of vendors, and like the cosplay contest was super small.
Yeah.
So I remember the first time I entered a cosplay contest, I was the only person in my category, so I got first place. It was awesome.
Go.
Oh yeah.
There you go. That's one way to win. Do you remember what your first cosplay was?
So my first actual cosplay was Koro from Plus Anima. Are you familiar with that one?
Nope.
Okay, it's a really cute series. It's a very innocent manga.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was really fun because I did like a homemade costume.
That's cool.
So everything was homemade, and my mom's native. And part of the costume was like a fur pouch to like put my tools in. So she like actually hand sewed me a fur pouch out of rabbit hair.
That's badass.
That she had laying around. Yeah,
that is really cool. Actually, there you go. That's one of the more accurate ways to get something on your cosplay.
Oh yeah, so everything was homemade. It was really cool.
What was the last con you went to?
The same con. Senshi Con.
You don't remember the Durango one?
Does that even count?
Now that you ask, not really. I mean, there was one celebrity cosplayer. It's like a meet and greet,
one cosplayer, and that was the only person dressed up.
And then, like, a couple tables. You can't even really call them booths. It was, like, a couple of the party tables out, and it's like, yeah, I write comics. Cool, are you a local artist? Yeah, dude, I'm actually a student here. Like, it was a very small thing, just in one ballroom. It was a lot of fun to kind of experience, but...
There were snacks.
There were snacks.
Yeah. Maybe that does make a convention. You've got a cosplay, a snack, a comic booth, you're set.
There we go.
Might have been 20 people, and we might have been like 5 of them, but that's okay.
Durango Comic Con.
There we go.
That's all you need.
Go check it out.
There you go. Fort Lewis College, Durango Comic Con. That's all
we
the
endorse
guidelines. This. That's all the guidelines you need for a Comic Con. You need food, at least one cosplayer, and maybe a comic booth or two.
Yeah, at least one or two, and you're set.
That's awesome. But how long did you say you cosplay for? Like a few years?
Yeah, just a few years. It's probably 3 or 4 years.
What made you stop? Was it just something you just never had time for, or?
Yeah. Basically, I started like pursuing other interests mostly. Like I started working and didn't really have time anymore. But...
That's a little sad.
It's still something I appreciate, though.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's part of the reason why I started this podcast, which, if you guys are listening, you probably remember from episode 1. But one of the reasons why I started this podcast about cosplay is, as I'm sure you know, I'm not as much into anime, and I don't read comics anymore. And like all the stuff that the cosplay community kind of evolves around, I no longer really take part of. But I've always had a very deep appreciation for cosplayers in general, because the craft itself is just, well, in my perspective, very time-consuming and very challenging, which, if you have the time and patience to even do something simple, props to you. Like, I threw something together for the Denver Comic-Con that just passed, and even that was a bit of a struggle. Like, walking around Comic-Con with this, like, closet cosplay, just it was too hot, and I was having fun with like all the looks that I was getting from the costume, but otherwise it was just kind of like, I don't want to wear this mask anymore.
What costume was that?
I kind of threw together my own little like steampunk zombie thing. It was basically, I got this mask at Spirit Halloween. It's like one giant face mask. Like an actual face, not like a football face mask, like an actual face, except it doesn't have a nose or a mouth, just eye sockets, and the eye sockets are completely black, and there's like completely bald, so no hair, nothing, it's just skin. And so what I did, and this is actually my Halloween costume, like every year, I have that mask, I have a pair of trip pants with these big chains on them, and then I have this like kind of like voodoo cane thing. It's got a goat head on the top of it, and And then I have this top hat that I just stuck a bunch of gears onto. Well, Rochelle stuck a bunch of gears onto it. She has the fabric glue, and I'm not qualified enough to not get my fingers stuck to myself some way. But yeah, she helped me and put all the gears and everything on the hat, and so it was this like steampunk goth skin monster thing, which in the Halloween time scares a lot of people, and it's fantastic.
Nice.
Which was a little bit of a letdown when I got to Comic-Con and people were actually coming up to me going, "Whoa, that's cool. What are you supposed to be?" I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
A thing. But
original character.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things is like you can always tell which people kind of feel left out at Comic-Cons, because I had one dude who it looked like it was his first time there. Like he was very obviously enjoying every second of everything that was happening around him. And he comes up and he asked if he could take my photo. And I was like, yeah, definitely. So I get my costume back together, throw on this trench coat, put on my hat, put on the mask. And he takes a photo and he comes up. He's like, I feel like I'm supposed to recognize this character. Like, you look familiar, but I can't really place you. I was like, well, good luck trying. I'm not from any comic or anime or anything, really. Like, this is literally something that I threw together. And he was like, oh, well, that looks really cool. I was like, thanks. It literally took zero effort. Just bought a mask and I had the rest of this stuff at home. Like, it's just what I had. And he was like, well, it looks really good. I was like, thank you. And I had that happen to me like maybe 4 times.
Nice.
Just people like, I recognize you, but I don't know where from. I'm like, I seriously doubt that. But it's definitely interesting trying to see people at least try to fit in. And that's really why I started the podcast, is because I want to talk to people about cosplay, but I don't know about like what they're cosplaying. Like there were so many people, like the popular thing nowadays that I'm seeing a lot on Instagram is like My Hero Academia, which I still have not watched. I probably should, because it looks really good, but I see a lot of cosplays pop up on Instagram. I saw a lot of them at Denver Comic-Con. I didn't know any of the characters' names. I looked at it and it looked like it took a lot of effort to put together and just at least to put on, even if they just like strung some stuff together. But I wanted to come up and be like, hey, that's a really cool insert character name here.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that character name, so I just walked up and was like, hey, that looks really good. And they're like, thanks. I'm like, cool. And I'd walk away. Like, that was it. But then I got this project here at school to start this podcast, and the first episode is literally as far as I got for the school project, and it passed just because of the concept. And then I moved on to other classes. But then I was doing more thinking. I was like, well, I know for me at least, when people ask me about photography or like an art form that I appreciate, I don't stop talking. Like, it's this one question and it triggers just like a domino effect. It's just one after another, which I find a little bit funny, but also a little bit annoying for some people, because I've actually had people who do not know me come up and say, so why do you like photography? And I've trained myself to respond with, are you sure you're ready for this conversation? It's the same thing when they ask me about like Harry Potter or Doctor Who. Yeah. I think we had that conversation when we first met. That was a very
lasted
long,
all day.
All day, and then partially into dinner.
Ended about 2 semesters later, you know.
Yep, exactly.
Well, actually went on pause, you know.
Yeah, it comes up every once in a while still.
Yeah, it's never actually ended. We just like try to drown it with other conversations, so hopefully it'll go away someday, but
probably not. No. You know me. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting experience, like seeing the community in general. Yeah,
and that's like another really cool thing about cosplay is like a lot of people, they might like cosplay as a character, but like they'll do their own take on it.
Yeah.
So like, you know, there's cosplaying where you're cosplaying as a character of the opposite gender.
Yep.
And like people have like different ways of interpreting that. Like maybe you like actually wear a costume that looks like just like it, or maybe you alter it.
Yeah.
So like sometimes like you might recognize the character, but it's like altered. And it's like really cool to just like see people's artistic ideas like in action.
Just to kind of like see their own little twists on things.
Yeah.
Like, there was this last Denver Comic-Con that just passed, or Pop Culture Con, because they had to change the name. But the last one that just passed, there was this kid walking around that he was dressed as kind of like the male version of Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. And that was probably the coolest rendition that I had seen, because like He still had like the full like the white face paint with the blue and the red on there, and he had dyed like he had really short hair, so he had dyed half his hair red and the other half blue, just like the pigtails on Harley Quinn. He had just like regular shorts on. He had these like big like I don't know if these shoes are still a thing or not, but like do you remember like the Etnies skating shoes?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, they were like these really like ridiculously large skate shoes. They looked super comfortable, but they were huge. And he was wearing like a pair of those in black and red, and he had the bat, and it said goodbye on it, like just like in the movie. Like he got everything down and twisted it up to his own little things. I think it was also to be like a mix of like Negan from The Walking Dead, because the bat also had barbed wire on it and like a little bit of blood splattered on it, and that was really cool. Like that was amazing. Just seeing people's twist on things is a lot of fun. But yeah, it's definitely interesting to see when people like cross anything really, like not just like gender bend cosplay, but also like there was one where they mixed up Super Mario Bros. And the Ninja Turtles, where they weren't throwing the regular turtle shells, they were throwing Ninja Turtles.
Oh my gosh.
Well, at least that's the way they described it. It looked hilarious. It was fantastic.
That would have been a cool one to see.
Oh yeah, that one I saw online, and I was really hoping to see something like that in person, but no such luck. But what was the community like the cosplay community like in Alaska, if you remember?
It was really cool. I'm not really sure like if it really differs from the community like down here, but like up there, everyone was just super welcoming, and it was like very diverse. Yeah. And even if your cosplay looked terrible, like you'd have people like coming up to you like telling you like it looks great, or like
super
just
welcoming.
Like, yeah, it's just super welcoming.
Yeah, super welcoming and friendly. That's awesome. That's what I love about the cosplay communities. There are zero boundaries when it comes to like telling someone, hey, that looks really good, like you're doing a good job, because I feel like at this point it's really just more about kind of holding each other up. Yeah. Like I feel like cosplay in general, just the community and the people in it, I feel like it's underappreciated sometimes, because you do get a lot of instances where you have someone who's trying to enjoy cosplay and just do it for fun, but then you have people just shut them down right away. Like, why are you trying to do that? Like, you can't make a career out of this, which oddly enough, you do get a lot of people that go into costume design for like movie sets and things like that, which would be awesome. Like, could you imagine doing cosplay just for fun, just because you can, and then getting obsessed with it, doing it for years, and the next thing you know, you're designing Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow costume or something. Right. Like, that would be insane. Like, that would be absolutely insane. But how familiar are you with the cosplay community in general?
I'm not very familiar with like. Well, the last time I did cosplay was like 7-8 years ago, so it's been a while since I've even been involved with the community. I'm sure it's changed a lot since then. Yeah. So.
Well, the reason why I asked this because my next question was, who is your favorite cosplayer, if you have one?
Ooh. I don't think I have one.
Makes sense. Yeah. There are a lot of good ones out there.
When I was a teenager, I really liked Jessica Negri, but yeah.
Why is that?
Oh, she just had nice cosplays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely.
Yeah. I think that's why everyone likes her.
Yes.
Yes.
Among other things. But yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed about a lot of people is like, even if you don't know about the cosplay community, you know someone in the cosplay community, even if you don't realize it. And there was actually, when I first started talking about cosplay here, I had a lot of people that had no idea what it was, and they didn't know who cosplayers were or like any famous ones at all. And I was like, I can prove you wrong right now. And they're like, okay, do it. Like, they didn't believe me. And I pull up a photo of Jessica Negri, and they're like, oh, yeah, I know her. Yes, you do. Everybody does. Like, that's the thing. Like, she's one of those people that, like, It's almost as awesome as getting to go to San Diego Comic-Con. If you ever get the chance to meet her, which I never have. But I would imagine it being like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing. Like, it just happens. Like, whoa, you're realizing, like, this person's either, like, the most down-to-earth person, or they're just someone that let the fame get to their head kind of thing.
Right.
Which a lot of people don't realize what effect the cosplay community has on everything. But if you go into a Joann's store, there's an actual cosplay lineup. Like,
really?
Yeah, they have like an entire section dedicated for building your own costume. Like, they'll give you like quality fabrics, that way they don't tear easily, or things along those lines. All with a partnership of Yaya Han, which, if you know who she is, she's also a big name in cosplay. But that's like, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know who that is. It's like, do you craft at all? A little bit. Have you been to Joann's at all? Yeah. Go to that section. Like, you will see a face. You will see that they advertise, yeah, we can help you become a superhero. We'll help you build this. We'll help you do that. We'll give you the materials. And I think that's awesome. Like, this kind of seeing how it's slowly becoming more mainstream, I guess. Like, just making its way to the masses, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I feel like with all of these comic book movies like becoming more popular, like that's also bringing cosplay more up to the mainstream.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because like you have all of these people that want to dress up as superheroes for Halloween, or maybe like there's, you know, some anime convention.
Yep.
Like you still see a lot of that anime conventions, like
oh yeah, definitely.
comic book characters.
Yeah.
So. And
that's one thing that I'm hoping grows a little bit more, because I remember the first time I was at Denver Pop Culture Con, when it was still Denver Comic Con, it was crowded. There were a lot of people, but not a lot of cosplayers. Like, there was a good amount, but not as many as I thought were going to be there. And the second year I went, it was a lot bigger. And then this last year that just passed, oh my god. Like, you could not walk anywhere without seeing somebody in cosplay, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I know, like, something similar, like, happened in Alaska. So, the year I started cosplay, like I told you, it's a super small convention. A year before that, I didn't even know what cosplay was. And the last year I did cosplay up in Alaska, like, I want to say the con, like, quadrupled in size.
That's awesome.
And my best friend still, like, is a vendor there.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they've had to, like, move buildings a couple times to accommodate all of the people there.
Yeah. That's
and
really
this
cool,
is, like,
though.
10 years later now.
Yeah, just to, like, see something growing so much is really cool. Because, like, I know with Denver Pop Culture Con, they had this, like, they have this thing where you have, like, a Q&A with celebrities. And they have a specific, like, auditorium, I guess. They'll have people lined up and they'll get them all down there. But this year, there were so many people and so many big name celebrities that they actually had, like, the biggest portion of the auditorium there, and they had this one entire section that last year was not taped off at all, because last year was just another spot for vendors. But this year it was just lines all the way back. Like, we got to go see what's the dude's name from Chuck? Or have you seen Shazam yet? Oh no.
Is that a movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Zachary Levi. Him.
Okay.
He was one of the bigger named actors that had shown up this last year, and his line all the way back. Like, it was crazy. There were so many people that were in there, and that auditorium was jam packed. Like, we were in there like sardines. Like, Rochelle and I had a very difficult time trying to find seats, but that dude is hilarious. Like, if he weren't a celebrity and he had run into us when we were going to Durango, he would have been a part of our group of friends. That's the kind of person he is.
Yeah.
Just wild and funny and out there, and very obviously adventurous. But, like, seeing all of that on stage, is like, he's literally just another human being. And that's what I think is awesome about the opportunities that really any con provides. Because whether you're meeting celebrities or fellow cosplayers, you're always going to meet somebody who it kind of helps motivate you a little bit more.
Yeah.
that being said, if you could give the listeners some advice about anything, what would you tell them?
About anything. Oh, geez, that's that could be a lot of things.
There could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
Whether it's motivational about like cosplay or just aspiration, like wanting to be more of something. Like I know primarily my audience right now is mostly like up and coming cosplayers or cosplayers who are already decently established or just anybody.
Yeah. Huh. Well, when you originally said anything, I was just gonna say, like, whenever you make pasta, make sure to add salt to the water.
There we go.
But, like, if you want something a little bit more motivational, I think that's pretty motivational.
That's very motivational. Spaghetti for life.
Exactly, yeah. I'd say, like, pursue your interests. Like, no matter what anybody thinks, just, like, go explore your interests. If there's something that seems like it might vaguely interest you, like... When I learned about cosplay, like, I was just like, what the heck is that? And my friend took me to a con, and then, you know, I was sold for the next few years. Like, just go out and try new things and find your passion.
That's awesome, yeah. Last question. If you were able to get back into cosplay, do you think you'd have a character in mind already, or is that something you'd have to sit on for a little bit?
I would be the Swedish chef from the Muppets.
Of course.
I don't know. I feel like it's a fitting character for me, and I won't really have to talk much, which also makes things easy.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah, I think that'd be my character.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, thank you for joining the podcast. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And thank all of you for listening. If you guys haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, or subscribe to this channel. Definitely hit the notification bell so that we can get more episodes like this one or any of the previous ones. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time.